Evans' three-point shot.
It's a powering shot, baby.
Red Bulls takes it to the house.
The following is a production of the Rough Rider broadcast team, a presentation of Watlington and Shires Productions.
Hey, welcome everyone to the Piney Woods Area Coaches Show live from the pizzeria. We got some pizza parties going on out there, man.
Yeah.
Mr. Shires here joining
House,
us.
full house.
Full house going on. Shires here with us to get the show going. We do have some coaches that are expected here. Coach Wager has made his way here from Shelbyville. But a lot of things to talk about here. So we always start off with our start-off segment by saying thanks to all the coaches and ADs and all the kids and the fans and everybody out there who have accepted us the last couple weeks and all the things we've done and some great ball games too. We were in Shelbyville and also in West Sabina this week doing ball games and great games out there. And just a big thank you to all those good folks. And we've got playoffs getting ready to start.
Right around the corner.
We get girls playoffs on the way. We got guys playoffs coming up here after a few more games. Final regular season for the girls is supposed to end tomorrow, but they got to have everything turned in. So starting next Monday and Tuesday, the 12th and 13th, and then every weekend all the way through. First part of March, we're going to be basketball playoffs all over the place. So we probably will have some Wednesday coaches shows, get some stuff down here too. But, just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody and some announcements to make, too. I've got, where did I do with them here? Right here in the back half of this here is my list of schedules for softball and baseball teams. And we got some information today that Beckville Bearcats is going to allow us to do some softball and baseball games, too, for our game of the weekend there. So right now we have talked to Coach Wallace, and Shelbyville's on board. We have Timpson, I got the chance to talk to him. We got to send him some information, but I'm sure Timpson is ready to get along there too. And St. Augustine, West Sabine, Torino, all that coming up for, and those will start up in mostly March.
Yeah.
What about the girls softball and baseball? That'll be about the same time, right?
Yes, sir.
For center, coming up here at 7:30, you get the Reek Meek show, and Coach Hiram Harrison will be here for that as well. The great basketball coaches, the guys' basketball season is coming down, and we'll talk about some girls' basketball. But we got a lot of good things to talk about here, so this is our first little thing to start our thank you segment to everybody. So we're going to come back, and Shires and myself will talk a little bit about the realignments.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit about that, too. That's on the way. So we'll be back here in about 1 minute as we're having pizza, wings, and pizza tonight here at the pizzeria on the Piney Woods Area Coaches Show here on NetSN.
Batters Law Firm is your first choice in personal injury law. Jeff Batters and his staff lead the way in the area with best of Nacogdoches and best of Lufkin votes over the last several years. If your case matters, it's got to be Batters.
For Matthews Realty, going above and beyond is what's expected. This is agency owner Colin Matthews. Our team of seasoned real estate professionals believe in giving their clients an advantage in any real estate transaction. Matthews Realty has a reputation of highly personalized service. Matter of fact, it's our #1 priority. From commercial and residential properties, poultry farms to beach rentals, our team works hard so you don't have to.
Call Matthews Realty 598-7800 or see their complete listings at matthewsrealty.com.
Shelby Savings Bank has a bold new look, but they're still the same local bank they always were. Same people, same friendly service, but with a bold new look and new services including mobile deposits from your ATM, your computer, or your cell phone. Shelby Savings Bank, same bank, new look.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Piney Woods Coaches Show.
Well, we're all chatting about all kinds of good stuff up on here. But I figured we would start off this. I know you guys are talking a little bit about too with Coach Meeks and everything, and we'll bring it up to Coach Wager as well. But the realignments came out on February the 1st, and I tell you what, there's all kinds of things. We were wondering about some different changes out here. And, one thing I know is I talk about 2A football. We like to cover a lot of 2A schools, and so that's what we're going to be doing. Garrison, Hemp Hill, Joaquin, St. Augustine, Shelbyville, and Timpson basically losing, I know that district very well over the last couple of years, basically losing Grapeland and West Sabine. I think both those teams went to D2 in 2A.
They did. They dropped down.
And they'll be in there with Tenaha, I do believe, on that one. And that one's another good district that those are going to be around in there. But, I mean, for this football season, I know we're talking basketball here, but that's pretty good in them. You were talking about District 10 over here. It's got like 8 teams in that district, doesn't it?
In Big 2A, there's going to be an 8-team district. That means 7 district games and 3 non-district games.
Right, yeah, that's a lot of them going on there.
And, of course, like you said, so we have kind of traditional district that still has Shelbyville, Joaquin, and now Hemphill in it, along with St. Augustine and a couple other folks. And like you said, the Grapeland moved down, and creates a very competitive, very interesting Region 3, District 11 district, where you have Alto, Cushing, Grapeland, Lovelady, Mount Enterprise, Overton, and Tenaha, all teams that have had success at some point over the last 20 years.
Well, and two, I've read some stories here. Lovelady has hired themselves like some big-time Texas coaches coming out of retirement, and he's going to be the new coach over there to take over the Lovelady program. So, yeah, so that's going on. That's something to look out there for.
Right.
And West Sabine is coming up here. And then talk about Hemphill in this one. We got to see Hemphill last year, and that was a good win for the St. Augustine Wolves. But that team's coming on there. They were young, and I got to talk to their coach. I had a great conversation with the coach. I can't remember his name, but great ball coach over there. I like that guy. But you know, that's going to be tough there. And then Timpson, they're going to be tough. You know, even though Bussey's going to be moving on, Timpson's still going to be a very tough
They
football
still have
team.
a lot of good players.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But, yeah, like I said, too, I'd like to see that West Sabine and Tenaha game. I think that would be really good. Lovelady in there.
West Sabine actually went south.
Did they go
They're
south?
in a district with Cozumel, Deweyville, Evadale, Sabine Pass, kind of a southeastern district.
There you go. Okay.
And West Sabine
gives us a chance to pick up some games down there. That's
Old
pretty good.
Dizetta. I mean, teams that you know and have heard about, but don't normally play up here in this area of the wood.
But, yeah, that's cool, too. And then I like in that District 10 there, too, because we were talking about how that's got Beckville, Big Sandy, Elysian Fields, Harleton, Gladewater, Union Grove, Ore City, Wascom, Hawkins, Harleton. I mean, I think that we may be seeing a couple of those games coming up, too, as far as our stuff is. But, you know, that's the football side of things there. But, you know, we're in the basketball of it right now. And in 2A in the basketball, you know, it's going to be really good, too. And I'm curious how Coach Wager's going to feel, too, on the basketball, because we have the Shelbyville and St. Augustine will now be in the same district, and you know those kinds got moved around a little bit, but still some great competition and all the way through it though. And it's going to be some good basketball.
Still have West Sabine in that. We don't have the breakdown between the big and small in the basketball.
And that also keeps Torino in that one too, I believe. And so that's a big one that we're covering in there, and those two districts in there, man. That's going to be really good stuff as we go through that for next season. And it gives us an opportunity too, and we'll have an opportunity now that we've been through it. We can kind of get that. You know, those games that, you know, we see they're going to be the big key matchups.
Yeah,
things that are going to be in there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But, yeah, I don't know. So, I know what you guys – I know we got 4A that's, you know, things have changed a little bit for center. I know you guys will talk about that coming up in the Rick Meeks show. But that's really a pretty good one there for even in center and basketball. It's really a competitive basketball
It's going to be – we think it's going to be a slight step up from what we had this year. We're going to Athens drop down from Big 4A or drop down in football to Big 4A, but they're going to move into – our basketball district, which is going to be interesting. Otherwise, a lot of the same folks. Football, we'll discuss that. That's going to be an interesting district. You know, Coach, we talked about the possibilities of going south, which we sometimes do, or being in a new district of doom. The UIL decided not to create the district of doom again because there was a chance that you could have had Gilmer, Carthage, Pleasant Grove, Center, and then 2 or 3 other poor guys.
Poor guys that just get the scrimmage squads come out there.
Yeah, but that did not happen.
Right. Well, and two, you know, I did see stuff, you know, and not everybody's going to be happy across the state with these things, and particularly Lufkin ISD right now. They've got a thing going on with the UIL because they're having to their travel is so huge in the district they're in, so they're trying to get back into some district that they were going to too. So some of those things are kind of crazy, you know. We understand, and then this goes on for a couple of years whenever you have to go through this. So you know, it can be a little bit. And I know Center being the big 4A over here, other than Carthage, you know, there's no other 4A around. We're traveling, you know, you guys are traveling all over for basketball and everything too. So it'll be crazy. But anyway, so that's kind of what we got going on right there. We got basketball playoffs coming up there. Like I said, the girls are going to start on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Final regular season game set up for tomorrow night. We're going to be in Beckville for Shelbyville and Beckville. And I think that the Lady Dragons have an outside chance in there to get some help to go, but we'll talk to Coach Wager a little bit about that too. But I know that for the top of that heap right there, Beckville and Shelbyville, going to be a big one right over there. Also going on tomorrow night, Tenaha and Timpson. That's going to be another big one over there too. But we do know on the girls' side it is the Tennehaw Tigers, Lady Tigers, and then Timpson will go in as a number 2 seed, and then there still could be a difference in the 3 and 4 seed right there. So could be Garrison, could be a couple others. So that's a possibility in there too. But everybody looking to win tomorrow night because they got to get all of their stuff in by Thursday, and then we'll know next where everybody's going to be next Monday, Tuesday. And I promise we probably won't be here Monday, because looking to do some basketball, wherever it is we may be doing a game Monday and Tuesday of next week. And then the crazy thing, then you take off Wednesday, and it's Thursday through Saturday, more girls basketball. So that's going to be going on like that too. Now, I do know one thing that though I have looked at here. The Tennehaw Lady Tigers are probably going to be, in there very good. And Martins Mills are going to be in that both Athens region. But I did see it that if they break it down the way they've already got it, it's going to be in a regional semifinal before they would see each other. That would be the game.
That may be the state. That may be the state championship
state
game.
Preview game right there. Whoever wins that one may get that championship. You're right, and I think it was Martins Mill that really did Lady Tigers in last year. But I tell you, Lady Tigers just seem to be on a roll right now. So they're looking really, really good. We were able to cover them the other night. But I tell you, Lady Tigers, the Lady Bears looked really, really good out there. Coach West squad, they were rocking and rolling, moving along out there the other night too. So they look good as well. So I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about a couple of the games that we covered this week, and then we'll get Coach Wager over here, and we'll talk about that too, and a little bit of Shelby ball, and we'll get ready for what we think of who and what in the playoffs here and there. A couple different districts that we cover, and we'll keep moving right along here as we're moving into the Piney Woods Area Coaches Show on your Monday night here at the Pizzeria, having some wings and pizza. Net SN.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
Many of you may know Brad Ernst from his coverage of Texas high school basketball for Hoop Insider. But did you know he also saves coaches and fans thousands of dollars on their insurance? Brad has access to multiple carriers and can shop around to find you the lowest rates on your home, auto, RV, boat, and ATV insurance. Contact Brad today and talk some hoops and see how he can save you on insurance. Email him today at hoopinsider@gmail.com or call him today at 409-988-4336.
Father, for lunch today, I would like a salad.
Father, for lunch, I'd like one of those American
no, I couldn't possibly.
cheeseburgers.
I'm a vegetarian.
Cheeseburger. That's what I need.
Father.
Ice cream.
Oh, when everyone in your family thinks they're royalty, take them someplace where they could all get something good. Dairy Queen.
Alrighty, folks, we're back here as on the Piney Woods Area Coaches Show. I thought we'd talk a little bit about the games and the impact that they had earlier this week. On Tuesday, I was in West Sabine for West Sabine and St. Augustine, and the West Sabine Lady Tigers over there were really needing a win over an up-and-coming Lady Wolves St. Augustine squad to get themselves into keep themselves in kind of a three-way tie there with a couple of teams, but they were able to get that victory. And it was actually really good here. I got to give it to Coach Bragg. She did a really good job with her squad. She was down. She lost her main point guard due to a knee injury, and so she was kind of concerned about that. But I'll tell you what, her team stepped up and did really, really well out there the other night. And they played some great defense, because I know what the Lady Wolves are capable of seeing them too, and I also know what the Lady Tigers are capable of well. But I mean, the second half for Coach Bragg's squad was phenomenal. They only allowed 7 points the entire second half to keep the St. Augustine Lady Wolves at bay and get that victory there the other night.
What was the final score there?
It was 39-18 was the final score there. So good job there by the Lady Wolves. They played hard in there. They tried really good in there, but they had some shots that were just not going down for them. But the Lady Tigers and Coach Bragg, I tell you, they did a really good job. They hit some outside shots there in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter, and they had a big fourth quarter to kind of stretch it out there to get the big victory. And I tell you, Coach Bragg is ready to go. And I do believe right now, the way I've got it here in that district is this is the right one. Here we go. In that district, in District 24, this is the girls' side. I got it here somewhere. Beckville, Shelbyville, Timpson, Garrison, and Tenaha and Gary. And this is the Woden. Okay, Torino and West Sabine. So West Sabine's still right there, and her and Torino are good to go. So that's where. Sorry, folks, I'm on the wrong side. But West Sabine, Commonweal, St. Augustine, Corrigan, Camden. And even though West Sabine still has a game to go, but I think Coach Bragg has her team ready to go, and it should be Broadus, Woden, Torino, West Sabine. Those two back and forth in 3 and 4. That's the way that one's going to end up there. So on the guys' side, though. Got to give it to the St. Augustine Wolves. They looked really, really good here this year, and they're finally getting to see some respect out of some of the coaches. I think they're number 32 or something like that in the state now. But I mean, they're starting to see some of that. But they're still moving right along. They got the big win there the other night, and Coach Randall has the guys ready to go. But I tell you, Coach Williams, he did a good job too. But the thing with the West Sabine Tigers was they kind of got cold there at the end. But they did a good job at St. Augustine too on the defense, because the defense came out there, and even though St. Augustine was kind of up there at halftime, the Tigers did a really good job of shutting them down on defense. Only allowed them like 10 points in the second half there for St. Augustine, a high-powered team that they are. So they did really good there, and they were able to close it up there and have a good second half. But just a little too much for the St. Augustine Wolves. So they continue on, and now they're undefeated there in that district at 11-0 right now, and they're going to finish up, with a couple more games that they have to go. They still have Broadus as well as Torino still yet to go there in there for Coach Randall, so they could end up as a number 1 seed in that one right there.
Right.
So that's some good stuff right there that they've got going on for the St. Augustine Wolves and Coach Randall. They look good there, so they're going to be there. And it looks like the Torino guys, Coach Graves, had a big win the other night there too. So he's got his team that are in there too. So we could see West Sabine, West Sabine, Torino, as well as St. Augustine. All those three that we've covered could be into a playoff run here coming up before too long. So there we go. So we did another great game on Friday night. That was Timpson and Shelbyville. Had a lot of good stuff going on with that. We got Coach Wager here, so we're going to do that. So let's take a minute break here. We'll get Coach over here, and we'll chat a little bit about that game and
a lot to talk about with Coach.
Yes.
we got last week. We got the big game against Beckville coming up. And we got realignment. So all kinds of things to hear what he has to say. Plus a very special event that occurred on Friday night.
Oh, yeah. Something did happen on Friday.
Yeah. We'll talk about that,
remember that, too.
We'll be right back.
Center Motor Company. From whatever angle you look at it, you see Ford. Ford trucks, SUVs like the Bronco, and iconic cars like the Mustang. A legacy managed by Kevin Jones and created by Ray Jones. Center Motor Company on Hurst Street in Center.
Hey, we're back here in NetSN in the Piney Woods area coaches show. We got Coach Wager of Shelbyville, and Coach, I tell you, you guys needed a big win the other night, and we had a very good up-and-coming basketball team that come in there, and we're going to talk about one person I think made a big difference, but let's talk about overall. This team came in there. They knew what you had to do the other night, and Timpson, the Bears, they were up-and-coming, like I said, and they knew what they wanted to do, but you were all about we got to defend our floor for our fans, and that's what you guys did the other night.
Well, we talked about this after the game on Friday night. We challenged the guys to defend our home floor, like you just said. And we hadn't played well at home, really, in the last several games, especially, with Tenaha the 2 Fridays ago that, we just probably had the worst performance of the year. So I challenged them and told them, guys, we got to put on a better show for our fans that show up every single night. And I can't say enough about the community of Shelbyville and how much they show up every night and support us. And, I mean, it's unbelievable the atmosphere that we walk into every night. So, and we did. We showed up and played one of the best games we've played all year, and I couldn't be more proud of our guys.
Yeah, I tell you what, too, and Charlie just seen it because we were over on the Timpson side, and they had the student section over here and the Shelbyville student section. They were just back and forth, just rooting. I mean, it was just a great atmosphere Friday night and great basketball all the way around.
Well, we've talked
and
about
it was so awesome.
We've talked about in the past. I mean, Shelbyville has got a great basketball history, long term,
right?
But also in the immediate past. So I mean, it's not a surprise, and the folks down there back the Dragons, whatever the sport is.
Right. Yeah, and it was a great crowd there tonight, knowing that was going to be a big game out there too. And like I said, it was a lot of good fun stuff that went out there the other night. But coming out there. But I think the big thing that was out there that everybody really needs to know was the 3-point shots that were going down finally the other night.
Right.
Eli Ferguson, he just started finding it there, and then in that first quarter he got hot and he found his spot, and then it was just that's kind of where the separation come from. And then every time Timpson would try to get back in, they'd find Eli, and he'd find another spot, didn't he, Coach?
Well, I knew we shot the ball well, at the end of the game. Of course, you never really know how well you shot it until you go back and watch the film and pull the stats. But, we shot 71% from the field, which is unbelievable.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
And from the three-point line, we were 64%. And I told the guys today during practice, we only had 42 possessions in the whole game, and we scored 54 points. So I think that puts our points per possession for that game at like 1.26. And anything above a 1 is incredible.
Right.
And when you start creeping up in the 1.2s and the 1.3s, now you're getting into elite territory.
Yeah.
So, it was unbelievable to watch. Credit to our guys.
Yeah, and the defense that they kept playing, because every time, like I said, Timpson would try to make a good run in there, good ball game out there, and then but you guys would just say, hey, we're gonna go back down, we're gonna answer you right back. Every time they made a little run, the Dragons made a little run right back at them.
Well, we finally did a great job of sharing the basketball and playing for each other. At times we get a little selfish. We kind of have this mindset of, Coach, I got to get mine. I got to get, 8 or 10 points or whatever. But, I told him today, when you start playing for each other and you're being unselfish, your stats are going to come.
Right.
And it's amazing how spread out we were the other night. And everybody was sharing the ball. I think we had the most assists. We had 16 assists in the game. That's the most we've had all year in district play. So I was so proud of them, the way that how they were unselfish and just kept sharing the basketball.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I see it here now that you had to mark that Geechee, I said Geechee dropping another dime, or John dropping a dime because, they were looking it out there, and then DJ was finding places too. And the good thing about it, we talked about after the game too, is Frick, who had been sick, said he had been out. He got to a little bit of foul trouble early, so you kind of went to that smaller lineup, and it worked out for you against a fast team because you knew Timpson was going to try to get it down the floor on you, and you guys kept the pace in your way.
Well, they went zone early in the first half. I think they started the game in zone. They were in a 1-3-1, and Weston picked up a couple quick fouls, and we went to kind of a 4-guard lineup and played 4-round run and really did a great job of moving the basketball and finding open gaps and driving. And of course, when Eli's knocking them down from out there, it makes things even tougher on the defense. So, no, it was fun to watch and really fun to coach.
Well, I tell you, and I went back and watched the game, and I hate to laugh at myself, but I did. But it's just I knew what he was going to make him, so I was sitting there and I was listening. You could just hear him go, boom. And that's all it was. It was just beautiful. I mean, just nothing but net. You can hear it out there. And then Campbell was coming back out there. I got to give it up to the Timpson Bears because they played themselves one heck of a game, too. They were working and driving down in there, and it was a cleanly played game. I don't think anybody really got into too much foul trouble out there. The refs kind of let them go a little bit. They got a little chippy there toward the end, but, that's going to happen in the rivalry thing there. But I tell you, I mean, those Timpson Bears are going to be a team that we talked about how they were just kind of coming along here, and they're going to be in the playoffs, too, and they're going to be a team that people are going to be ready. They better be ready for the Bears when they come out.
Well, huge credit to Coach Jermaine Lewis over there. He does an incredible job with those guys and gets them to play extremely hard. And, my hat's off to those guys. Yep. And you're right. If you catch them on a bad night or a good night for them, bad night for you, it could be rough. So, I mean, they've got enough guys to spread it out, and they shoot it at a really, really high rate. And they could be scary, come playoff time.
Yeah, because I got to talk to Coach Lewis before the game, and I said, "Who's one guy I need to watch out for out there?" And he said, "Watch out for Campbell because if he can shoot the ball and he gets some room out there." And I saw the big man out there step out, just reminded me of Ferguson to step out there and hit that line and knock him down with a nice sweet stroke like he's got too. And I mean, and then Tyler Lane, called him in a lot of football stuff, but Tyler Lane had himself a heck of a game. Nickelberry was in there. These guys are, just primed up and ready to go. You just know the names from coming in. And, I mean, that's a good basketball team, and Coach Lewis has them ready to roll, too.
Absolutely. They're extremely athletic, and if you don't box them out, and I didn't think we did a great job the other night. I think Tyler Lane ended up with almost 10 rebounds, and, my hat's off to that kid. He plays his tail off. So, you got to come rebound the basketball when you play the Timpson Bears.
Yeah, that was one thing that Coach Lewis talked about in our pregame interview. He's like, rebound, and get back up the floor, and that's what they really went for. But it was a good job there by the Dragons to not get back down in there. But yeah, like I said, Shires. I mean, Eli had 21. He had, I think he had 12 in that first quarter. Once he started rolling there in about the latter half of that first quarter, and it just boom, and it just kind of opened up the scoring a little bit for the Dragons. They just kind of kept it that way. But got close there a little bit at the end in the third quarter, but, bouncing it back out. To finish the game all the way out, it was just a good start.
Sounds like, Coach, if you got good spacing and they make the extra pass and you knock down the jumper, That's y'all's key to success.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk about our guards, getting downhill and getting 2 feet in the paint and collapsing the defense and, either scoring it if nobody stops us or dumping it off to the big or, finding that curly-headed blonde kid out there for him to knock down another 3. So,
That's right.
If we can penetrate and get downhill, it opens up the floor so much for us.
And another good thing, too, I thought you did well, Coach. I think it was in the third quarter, maybe the end of the third quarter, but just taking some time off the clock. You had a good little lead there, and you worked the weave, in and out, 5-man in and out around the way out there, just trying to find something. But, give it up to Timpson. They played really good defense for that long time you had the ball. But, that was really – when you had to do that, and they did a good job of just keeping a hold of the basketball.
Well, no matter what point in the game – whether it's in the first half or late in the second half, there's times where I call a timeout and go, guys, we're up by 10 or by 12 or whatever. If the clock runs out, who wins? And they, well, Coach, we do. Okay, then why are we shooting it so fast?
Right. Yeah,
and so, and then the more defense we can make them play and limit their possessions offensively, especially with a big lead, it bodes well for us. The percentages say in the long run we're going to end up winning the basketball game. So that's what we try to do. And, of course, at the end of a possession like that, when you make a team play defense for a minute and a half, a minute 45, and then Eli steps out there and hits a 3 to turn it into a 21-point lead right before the half, it's just like, it's a dagger. So,
it is,
That's good stuff because, talk about, some of the other guys that are coming off the bench out there, too. Dylan Parker, and I don't know, this kid, but I tell you, he's got to have a hot tub every time he gets done with a basketball game because he is up underneath. He's not the tallest kid, but he's one of the toughest kids I've ever seen to play underneath in the middle. Doesn't get a whole lot of fouls, but he is there and he's pesky and he takes care of it for his team. If you need something, you're probably going to find Dylan Parker under there hooking it back up for you.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about this kid's last week. So, on Monday, he misses school. He's out sick. On Tuesday, he texts me, Coach, I've got 105 fever. Oh. So he goes to the ER, and, he gets in some IVs, and they get his temperature back down. And we get a text from him that says, Coach, I'm so sorry I'm going to miss the game tonight. I'm like, Dylan, you have 105-degree temperature. You take care of yourself. We'll go win this one without you, and we'll see you the rest of the week. And, of course, on Wednesday and Thursday, I didn't really let him do a whole lot. Thursday, he tried to jump in, and he's over there on the side, just gasping for air. I'm like, Dylan, sit down. We'll get you rolling tomorrow night. So, he's unbelievable, and he gives us everything he's got every single night, every single practice, and you never have to worry about Dylan Parker's effort.
Right.
So, and he's really, really fun to coach.
Yep. Yeah. That's a good kid. And I tell you, too, and I got to talk to John Agici. I kept calling them the Mathis brothers, so I finally talked to them before the game. And you talk about 2 young men that are very nice young men. They are good young men, and they just good to talk to, just very pleasant. Hey, man, how you doing? I said, I'm awesome and blessed. Oh, that's easy. So, but I got to talk to them, and I was like, hey, you guys got to give me nicknames or something because I'm tired of calling y'all Mathis brothers. So we got John Agici and make sure we got it right, and so I could get them different there. But they played a great game, and you got them both out there at the same time, and they're both feeling it together. You could tell, that they're brothers, and they can take care of the ball whenever they're playing well together.
Well, when we get them on the same page, they're really, really good, and when it makes us really, really good.
Right.
Sometimes one gets mad at the other. Brothers being brothers. You know how it is.
Exactly.
And I gotta yank them back and drag them back to reality. But they have an unbelievable personality, both of them, and they're so fun to be around. I have them both in class during the day, and sometimes they drive me crazy, and they know they do. But they're so fun to be around. They have a great personality, and they're not sticks in the mud. You never know what you're going to get from them. Right. So they keep me on my toes for sure. But I love them to death.
Right. And I like, too, that before the game, they're watching the JV games and stuff like that, and Eli and the Mathis brothers and Parker, they were out there, and they were just, talking to the Timpson kids, they just all having fun, smiling, and they were just such good friends out there having a good time, and I really enjoyed that before the game. I thought that was great, the camaraderie between the kids there, the 2 rival schools. I thought that was really cool. But anyway, we got a bunch of things here, but I know we're talking about. But I want to say congratulations once again, in case you didn't miss it at the end of the game.
Right, we had a very special post-game show.
Yes, we had a very special. I wasn't really aware of it either until it was kind of a surprise for everybody. And Coach, she said yes.
She did. She
said yes.
So luckily, I don't know why, but she definitely said yes. So I'm thankful.
Right. Well, that's a little bit of pressure. Right. It was after a win, and then. Folks
the kids didn't even know till like 37 seconds left in the game.
So I got to tell you the story.
Let's hear the story. This is going to be good.
So, I'm at times I can be a little spontaneous, and made the decision early that morning, that day, and nobody even knew. No, my parents, her parent, nobody knew until about 6:30 p.m. I pulled my my assistant in, my AD, and then our defensive coordinator. He comes to every game, and I pulled them in the office. Said, "All right, guys, I need your help with something." And I showed them the ring, and they said, "All right, we'll take care of you." So of course the kids didn't know. When we got up 17 with about 22 seconds left, and I'd called a timeout, and told them, like, guys, let's have class here at the end, and enjoy this win, and also I need some help with something. And they're just kind of looking at me like, what do you mean? And I told them, well, guys, I'm about to propose to my girlfriend. Of course, they all know her. She's been around. She's been to enough games, and so they were like, they were fired up. They were ready to go. As soon as the game was over, we went in, had our little post-game talk, came back out. They were trying to find her, get her down there, and of course, she said yes, and all the guys went nuts, and they really, really enjoyed that moment.
Right, because I saw them coming out there. I thought, well, they're just going to take a team picture. I didn't know it was going to. Wait a minute. And he kneeled. I said, so yeah, that was pretty cool.
So you did the old kneeling thing.
I did.
Nice.
On the center square.
Awesome.
The center of the
congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
and I asked her, and I said, well, she's okay being a coach's wife. He said, well, she's a coach. So I was like, okay, she knows what's
she knows what she's getting into.
That's it there. But I tell you what, Coach, that was awesome for you guys. I'm so happy for y'all, and hopefully the great season and everything's going to come on. But let's talk a little bit about what we got.
You want to do that? You want to take a quick break?
Okay, we'll take a quick break.
So
we'll come
this
back and
is
talk about that.
The Piney Woods Coaches Show live here from the pizzeria. Come back. We're going to talk about what Shelbyville has coming up, which is the Beckville Bearcats.
It's going to be a big one. Mm-hmm.
Serving our communities for over a century, Farmers State Bank continues to meet the financial needs of East and Central Texas. With roots that run deep, Farmers State Bank serves as a source of financial strength to meet the needs of our neighbors. From a comprehensive range of financial products to individual service, we remain dedicated to being a true community bank. Farmers State Bank, improving lives and fulfilling dreams.
At Aurora Concepts, our team of doctors and advanced practice providers are highly trained and qualified in family medicine. We strive to provide our patients guidance towards the healthiest lifestyle possible. We offer a full spectrum of family medicine, including scheduled appointment, mobile vaccine units, sports physicals, and walk-in visits with no appointment. We accept all major insurances, including Medicaid and Medicare, and we also have the most competitive self-pay rates in the area. For highly trained expert care in East Texas, choose Aurora Concepts. Let us take care of you.
Wiggins Farms. They call them the watermelon family, but the product from their farm when the melon's just a baby, all the way through to the harvest to your table. It's the juiciest, best melons available. Wiggins Farms, hat not included. This Wallington Shires and Pierce production on the YouTube channel of the Northeast Texas Sports Network, brought to you in part by Batters Law Firm. When your case matters, it's got to be Batters. Mathis Realty, proud of East Texas, one home at a time. And Shelby Savings Bank, your local bank. Center Motor Company. From whatever angle you look at it, you see Ford. Ford trucks, SUVs like the Bronco, and iconic cars like the Mustang. A legacy managed by Kevin Jones and created by Ray Jones. Center Motor Company on Hurst Street in Center. Batters Law Firm is your first choice in personal injury law. Jeff Batters and his staff lead the way in the area with Best of Nacogdoches and Best of Lufkin votes over the last several years. If your case matters, it's got to be Batters.
For Matthews Realty, going above and beyond is what's expected. This is agency owner Colin Matthews. Our team of seasoned real estate professionals believe in giving their clients an advantage in any real estate transaction. Matthews Realty has a reputation of highly personalized service. Matter of fact, it's our #1 priority. From commercial and residential properties, poultry farms to beach rentals, our team works hard so you don't have to.
Call Matthews Realty 598-7800 or see their complete listings at matthewsrealty.com.
Hey, we're back here at the Piney Woods Area Coaches Show from the pizzeria, and you want to ask a little bit about Beckville, because you and I got to go to the Beckville game a while back, didn't we?
We covered the Beckville Garrison game, which was ended up being a very good basketball game, but both teams were impressive. Beckville particularly impressive. And Coach, we'll talk a minute about some of the challenges that you face. Talking about before, they had a big post player. I mean, he was like, I don't know, 6'3", 6'4", but he was also really wide and really took up a lot of space down there. So you know who I'm talking about.
Absolutely, yeah, the Smith kid, and they're extremely big across the board, especially their 2 post players inside and 5 and 14. And they give us a challenge, or gave us a challenge the first time we played them in rebounding the basketball. And so we're going to have to come rebound tomorrow. We're really going to have to block out and try to mediate their height. So.
And then if that's not enough, then they have number 2 Williams, who is a football Division I football player going to Texas Tech. And that guy just causes fits too.
Well, Jacoby is quick as all get out, and he's hard to stay in front of, and so is his brother Prince, and he shoots it. They both shoot it very, very well. If one of them gets hot from out there, it could be a nightmare for the opposing team. But my hat's off to those 2 kids. I mean, they gave us problems the first time we played them, and they really get out in transition and try to run and get to the basket, and they're really, really solid players.
Now, we don't want to give away any secrets here, but, I mean, let's just talk in general about what you think Shelbyville needs to do to get a victory.
Well, obviously we talked about rebounding, but the biggest thing is not turn the ball over offensively. We turned the ball over so many times in the second half because we were up 17 in the first half when we played Beckville at home and firing all cylinders a lot like we were in the Timpson game. And then the second half, I mean, we just took a nosedive and just completely. I think we got outscored 40-13 in the second half. Wow. And it was just, I mean, it was unbelievably bad for us. But a lot of those mistakes, we shot ourselves in the foot. And if we don't turn the ball over, they never really get out to run in transition and do what they do very, very well. So
I think that's sort of kind of what happened to the Dragons there against Tenaha. Is just there's too many unforced errors and turnovers that we had there. And I mean, because Tenaha would get out there and Shelbyville come up a little bit would just that was.
Well, it's one of the hardest things, and we see it with the Rough Riders as well. We get out and get like against Chapel Hill. We get out to a big lead up 19. And you let your foot off the gas, and you make a couple of mistakes, and then all of a sudden the momentum switches like that.
Dan Campbell, NFC Championship. Oh, sorry.
So yeah, I mean, and then you have a few turnovers, and it just snowballs, and you can call timeouts and try to get it back. Sometimes you just can't fix Humpty Dumpty back.
Right. Well, playing with the lead's never an easy thing to do, and you're so worried about, okay, if we shoot it too fast, are we going to give them more opportunities to catch up, or if we take our foot off the gas and hurt our flow, you never know. And when a team's down, especially 12, 15, 18 points, well, then they get a little desperate. And desperate teams are sometimes the scariest. So you just got to keep running your offense and keep taking care of the basketball regardless of what you do, and can't have any unforced turnovers.
Okay. So. And with this way, the way that the foul situation is nowadays with the 5 fouls, has that changed kind of some of the way the coaches have to do some things nowadays? Because, I mean, it could change some of the ways. It depends on how you run things there, but, I mean, it could change some of the things.
I think it definitely has because, there were times, if you picked up – if the opposing team had 5 fouls in the first quarter, you were thinking, okay – beginning of the second quarter, you're going to keep driving the basketball to try to get to the line. Well, now it resets. And I think it's changed things as far as there's no pressure of the 1-and-1 anymore.
Right.
So every time a kid goes to the line, he knows, okay, I've at least got 2 shots, and I think the free throw percentage has gone up a little bit because of that.
Right, I think it is. Well, as a coach, I mean, do you like this rule change? Don't like it, or just kind of neutral?
I don't know. I like it because we get 2 shots every time instead of a 1-on-1 like I just talked about. I like it for that aspect, but it's taking a little bit to get adjusted to. But I think overall in the scheme of things, I don't know that it's changed the game that much. But who knows?
I think it puts a little bit more of a premium on making the free throws.
It does.
And maybe it's sped it up a little bit. Because now you even though you're at the end of you still got those fouls to give. You get 2. You're going to put them out there. You don't have well, I've still got this many fouls and this many fouls in there, and it's 1-and-1, and and maybe sped it up a little bit. But that could be the only other thing I would think. But yeah, I'm with you guys. The 2 shots. Maybe better free throw percentage for the team overall, and the kids need to really get there and practice the free throws.
Well,
anyway.
I have noticed this. At the end of games, obviously the team that's down fouls to try to put the other team at the line to try to get the ball back. And I have noticed there's been several games, we've been on both sides of this, where you look up, it's like, okay, there's only one foul to the team that's down, and now they got to foul 4 more times just to get the other team to the line. And you know, and when at our level, especially when you're sometimes only playing 6 or 7 guys, you know, that can put you in a bind because you don't need to get another kid 2 or 3 fouls because he may foul out if the game goes to overtime or something like that. So I think in that aspect it's changed the game. I think overall as a whole maybe not, but definitely situational basketball, it's changed the game for sure.
Right. I'll tell you, it's been a lot of fun here for all the games that we've got to go out here that we've been doing so far, and that was a great game the other night too. You know, we knew it was going to be as a packed house there, and the Shelbyville fans showed up. And I know that we've got playoffs and things that are coming up here too. But you know, we're going to be covering as many teams as we possibly can. But you know, before we go, we were talking about the alignments here, Coach. Now, the little bit difference here, you know, for you in the basketball scheme of things is, you know, we get some difference in there. You know, the schedule's going to change. I mean, you know, you're out of that 23 into 24 district there, in Region 3. So that puts some rivalry things in there with a couple of the schools that are, you know, really good this year too.
Well, you know, it takes us from, you know, being in District 23, we were the furthest south team. You know, everybody else was north of us, and now we're the furthest north team. So we went, you know, we're right in the middle of those 2 districts, and they just took us and completely flipped us to the other one. So now the scheduling is going to be completely different. You know, obviously it's not as good of a district, just in my opinion. It's not as good of a district as District 23. But I know the travel. I know people were upset about some of the travel situations because, you know, now we're going 30, 45 minutes to an hour for almost every district road game instead of, you know, Tenaha 10 minutes down the road and Joaquin 15 minutes down the road. And so some people are upset about the travel, but, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of nice to get out of the District of Doom a little bit. So
right. Yeah, because this is going to be a good one in there, too. And you got all these teams that are really playing very well. They're going to be coming in next year. San Augustine, you guys are going to be very good coming in again next year. You know, we know Coach Graves and the Comanils, the Torino squad, and Coach Bragg and everything, and Coach Williams with his West Sabine team. So a lot of good teams that are going to be in there. So, you know, it could actually, you know, end up being maybe a District of Doom. You never know on that one, too, coming up next year.
Absolutely. And, I mean, you're looking at that district, I mean, St. Augustine's going to be really, really good. You know, they got everybody coming back. And, you know, I think they deserve to be in the top 10 in the state right now as well as they're playing. I think they're kind of
silently back there right now. I think people better watch out for the Wolves. They're going to be somebody. So I tell you what, I mean, if it comes down to where these 2 teams have to meet, the Dragons and the Wolves, well, you're talking about the old slobber knocker, great game that we like to watch. That's going to be one of them right there.
And speaking of that, have you already started thinking about, Coach, the by-district, the district you're paired with in the by-district?
Absolutely.
Been thinking about who –
we've been chasing down films and stuff for the last couple of days, you know, after we beat Timpson. But looking at right now, you know, as long as we take care of business, we shouldn't finish any lower than 2nd in our district. And looking at playing either Woden, Sherino, or West Sabine. So not sure. We have films on all 3 teams, but not sure where exactly they're going to fall. I mean, that'll be decided in the last couple of games. But looking at those 3 for right now for by-district. So
does that, being the higher seed, does that get you a home? Because this is basketball, you know, I'm trying to figure, does that get you a home by-district game, or is that how that works?
No, I mean,
it's a neutral side somewhere, anywhere.
So we'll still decide. I mean, we can flip to see if, you know, we want to play home and home or decide that. And, of course, we would, you know, flip a coin to see whose place we played at. But I'm leaning more towards going to a neutral site and playing the first game there.
Come on over to center. Play right there.
We'll get the new center, the special event center built. But
and that too, you know. And I mean, I'm going to apply for, you know, as many games that we've got to cover, you know. So if we get that one there, you know, just as much as we could possibly do. Well, so we get as many of those.
I predict. I got pulled out my crystal ball, and I predicted there a lot of Shelbyville games are going to be in our future.
Right.
Well, if you'll let us know, we'll make sure we put it in the agreement between the 2 teams that y'all get to cover us, and we'll make sure that happens. So.
Well, I know the crazy thing is, and folks, and once again we have to explain this. When it comes to the playoffs, the UIL sends it through the NFHS, and there's really, unless we can do something ahead of time to make it free and do some stuff, there's a cost involved. We may end up on the NFHS, but we're going to do what we can to do everything that we can to bring as many games to the Northeast Texas area. I know that the center guys are probably going to have the center, and at least maybe the girls game probably going to be free of charge on NetSN. but we'll see how things go on that. But that's what we're going to try to do. And so I promise as many games as we can get done. It doesn't cost anything for anybody to go watch. We will, but they will probably be – a lot of them could be on NFHS, so just so everyone's aware of that too.
Well, the UIL is all about their money. So.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the playoff time too. So I tell you what, though. But I like, Coach, I know as we were talking a little bit, but I know tomorrow night we got a big game going on out there tomorrow evening. We're going to be there in Beckville. I already talked to Coach Ross and all those folks over there too. We got it all set up and ready to go. It is senior night, so they're going to be ready to rock and roll over there. And I know we talked a little bit about how we got to stop things over there, but the one thing I think that they can count is they got a good 3-point shot. They got a couple guys out there that can do it. So can we keep kind of the way we've what would you guys, from the films and everything, you guys said you were up, so what do we got to do to stay up if we get that win?
We got to not turn the ball over, and we got to crank up the intensity on defense, and we got to rebound. We got to box out. They're a little bit bigger than us. They're a little bit more athletic, and we've really got to put a body on people to go rebound the basketball. And if we can do those three things and not give up, I think last time we gave up like 20-something transition points, and that's not, in our characteristics at all. If we can do those things, I think we'll be right there with a chance to steal one on the road tomorrow night.
That's right. And shoot 71% from the field.
That always helps. Yep. And I think another big key factor will be here tonight. I told we talked about how big they are down underneath, but I mean, I know that my man Frick underneath, he's got a whole week of practice. He's feeling better, so he's going to be a force, and I think that he could be a big determining factor in how well the Dragons play tomorrow night.
Well, I hope you're right.
Really good luck, Coach.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
Congratulations.
Definitely again.
Thank you.
And, yeah, we're going to be a big crowd over there. Check out the game. If you can't get there, we'll be there in Beckville for Shelbyville-Beckville in a big basketball game. And let's talk real quick for the girls, because we didn't talk about the ladies there. I think the ladies might have an outside chance for that district to maybe get number 4, but I'm not sure.
We looked at it today. If they win tomorrow night, they'll force a one-game playoff with Garrison for 4th.
Oh.
And don't know where they're going to play that game at. I want to say I'd heard Tenahall maybe on Friday, but of course as soon as we find out, we'll let y'all know. But they got to win tomorrow night. They got to take care of business on the road against Beckville and hopefully put themselves in the playoffs or with a chance to make it with a seeding game. So.
Yeah, and because if you look back at it as Garrison, and it was where the Shelbyville Lady Dragons really kind of started their win streak, and then Garrison got them back there kind of in the second half of the other. So it's been 1-1 out there. So Lady Dragons do have an opportunity, so they'll be there. So a lot of good fun action coming up for some playoffs on the way. So are you showing off the pizza before?
Yeah, we got coaches. This is the Coach Meeks. Extra crispy pepperoni pizza that he's waiting for him.
Okay, so we got that waiting over there for him. Yeah, definitely. Better get some of it. So, Coach, well, thanks you so much for being here once again. Tell the guys thanks a lot, and it's been a great game. And I know that Coach Ross and everybody over there in Beckville is ready for us, too. And we got a lot of great things coming up here. We got the Rick Meeks Show coming over on the Knit stream, so come up with that, folks. And check us out tomorrow night for basketball, and we get ready for the playoffs. We got games Friday night, and then all the way through the end of February, it's going to be playoff basketball. Will we get the chance to go to San Antonio?
I sure hope so.
I sure hope so, too. Somewhere along the way, let's go to
San Antonio. We got to go to Jerry World. Now we need to go to the
Now we need to go to Alamo Dome. Is it at the Alamo Dome?
I think so. I think that's what they
Sweet. That'd be all right.
Well, I'll be there, so I'll have to come join you guys on the show. So.
Look, I can tell you what. We'll take
you.
Look, there's a place. There's a place in San Antonio. It's called La Fagata. It's my favorite restaurant. One of my favorite restaurants in the entire world.
I've never been there.
Oh, it's traditional. It's great. It's great interior Mexican food. It's been there for 50 years.
Yeah, so we'll all get together and go there.
Well, I'm going to hold you to it. Y'all let me know when y'all get down there.
That's right.
We'll go have a good meal.
That sounds good.
All right, well, let's thank our producer, Scarlett. She's here with us still for a little while. She's going to be leaving us before too long.
I know we were corporately rated, but we'll get by it. But I'm still thinking about litigation to try to keep. It's obviously contract tampering, but we're probably going to lose her.
All right. Well, Coach, good luck to you and the guys. We'll see y'all tomorrow night in Beckville. It's going to be a great game. Check it out here on NetSN. We're going to wrap this one up here and get the next show going. We're out of here, folks. Have a wonderful night.
See ya.
3-point shot.
It's a powering shot, baby.
Red Horse takes it to the house. This has been a presentation of the Rough Rider broadcast team, brought to you by Watlington and Shires Productions.